Hi, this is Randy, and we're back in our second video on installing pfSense under Hyper-V. Let's just go ahead and get started. Now, I've referenced the build guide and again a document we've shared in class, and had a quick look at it at the other video. But we go to New Virtual Machine, and our naming convention for our class is to put our initials, and we've asked that we always store those here. Okay, so just like when we built our other two virtuals, our Windows 10 and our Server 2016, looks good. Okay, does need to be a Generation 1, built on FreeBSD. The pfSense is built on the operating system FreeBSD, and that will run as a Generation 1 in Client Hyper-V. Okay, so we're good. We chose not to use dynamic memory, and according to the build guide, we need to give it 2 gig of RAM. Okay, 2 gig of RAM. pfSense is pretty light. When we run these in production as appliances on real hardware, our standard build is 4 gig of RAM, 8 to 16 gigabyte solid state drive, very small. Processors don't need to be heavy duty. Celeron processors, dual core 64-bit Celeron processors do a fine job. If we're really going to do a lot of really work with pfSense, like intrusion detection prevention and stuff, we might bump it up to more RAM, bigger hard drive and such. But it's amazing at how well it runs on very, very light hardware. Okay. We're given the choice here to connect one of our network cards, not both of them, but just one of them. I'm going to go ahead and specify the external network card. And in our earlier video, we looked at a drawing and we realized that we need two network cards. One of them, the WAN one, we want to connect to this interface. WAN in the reference of what pfSense considers WAN. pfSense refers to its external interface as WAN and its protected interface as LAN. I have a choice here to pick one of them. I'm going to go ahead and pick my external one. Okay. And I don't need a very big hard drive at all. According to the build guide, I just need 8 gigabytes, which is, for basic firewall installation, it's very adequate. Okay, so I continue on. We're going to install from an ISO file that we already downloaded off of the internet. So I've got that here. All of us, we've got this ISO folder, and it should be in there. Okay, current version is 2.4.4 for us. Okay. And that's it. Get a review here, and we go ahead and click Finish. Now, it didn't ask us every question. It didn't give us a choice for a second network card. It didn't let us specify 2 CPU, and let's go ahead and fix that. It's very common. We did that with these other virtuals. We build them, and then before you go ahead and install them, you go into Settings, and you finish the process of adjusting them. So I need 2 processors there. That looks good. Down here under my network cards, I've only got one right now, and so I come up here to add hardware. There are 2 different kinds of network cards on a Generation 1 virtual. We have what's called network card and then legacy. The network card here, this one performs better. It is. This one, though, you can do PXE booting and supports older operating systems, and so when possible between these 2 choices, I like this one. But if you need to PXE boot or use a Windows deployment server, something like that, then you need to use the legacy one. So I go ahead and add that in, and there it is. Now, so if I can make this any bigger, but when you look at it here, so we have this one network adapter here, and it's connected to the external network. Now this one, when we installed it, it didn't connect to anything. But what we want is we want to connect it to the private network. Okay. So what our goal is that when we install pfSense, our goal is to associate this one as WAN and this one as LAN. Now, there is a little bit of a trick here in that when you're installing pfSense, which we're going to do next, all you see is MAC addresses. And you have to figure out, you have to associate the network card by MAC address. And notice that right now, there is no MAC address. Now, there will be. As soon as we start the installation, it'll assign, Hyper-V will install it a MAC address. But there isn't one now for either network card. And I point that out because this is about the only gotcha. This is about the only gotcha That one hasn't having anything right now. Let's go ahead and apply that. It's about the only gotcha when you do this is the getting the right network card associated with WAN and the right network card associated with LAN for pfSense. Okay, so we did our build and we're at 5 minutes. I'm going to go ahead and wrap up this video. When we come back, we'll power it on and I'll walk through each of the choices we make and what we're doing and why. That video might be a little bit longer, but that'll one time we got to do that. One time we've got to go through and talk about every choice that we're making when we do the installation. So I'll be back in another video where we'll fire it up and move on.